Yogi Ramsuratkumar ki Sarvam Yogi Ramsuratkumar Ashram This evening has been a very fruitful evening. Fruitful because we have been able to sing the divine Nama, Yogi Ramsuratkumar. Bhagwan has often said, the remembering God, it's only when we remember God we truly live. The other times we are dead. We carry around a dead body. Why? We're not serving the purpose of life. And he also said, remembering the name is remembering God. And remembering God is living in God. So we have been living in God. We have truly lived those moments. We have to remember this with gratitude to Bhagwan. This attitude of gratitude to Bhagwan is very important. When we recall, when we remember the name with love and gratitude, it assumes special power. We have been seeing a few drops from the ocean of his Leelas, the Kripa Leelas. Today also we see one or two events, experiences of devotees which depict the power of grace. It's very important to remember the true meaning of these experiences. They may sound very worldly because people call out the name of God only in times of difficulty, the desperation, the suffering makes them call out with intensity, soulfully. So it not only gives us the help we require, it strengthens our faith in God, and it deepens our kinship with God. So it's truly spiritual. There is a devotee by name Sri Raman from Alaja, a very poor man, a painter who would paint the buildings. He won't get much work, very little money is available, but he would somehow manage to get money and come to the ashram. He has been coming now for many years. Sri Raman lost his father in 1969 itself when he was just 1 year old. And 2 years after he lost his mother also. He never really got to see them. In the sense he could not remember their faces. Of course, he got married. A child was born to him, but he had mental retardation. And after 2 years, the child died also. One day, he happened to hear from a Mahatma, if we do not do to the departed souls of our ancestors, especially the parents, the immediate people like our parents, then the child that would be born to us would be mentally retarded. We have duties even towards the departed souls. Life doesn't end with the death of a body. It continues very much after that also. So when he came to hear this, he knew the truth of the statement because he had suffered it himself. And for nearly 37 years, he had been wanting to do his duty towards the departed soul. There are Vedic rites to be performed because when the soul leaves the body, for nearly 10 days, it wouldn't be able to leave the earth. It would be hovering around the body because it has been living in the body for so long. And suddenly it's out of the body. Nothing else has changed. It has feelings. And suddenly it finds itself without a body and it would want to come back to the body. So it will be hovering around, and that's one of the reasons why they burn the body to ashes, so that the soul would know there's no body available to it anymore, that his body is gone. Now it has to leave the earth and start its further journey in subtler worlds. But those 10 days, when it is still bound to the earth, it would have the normal feelings of hunger, thirst, attachment to the relatives, all that. So those 10 days, Vedic rites are being prescribed for the sake of the departed soul. They would offer water and they would offer pinda, meaning some kind of food to the departed soul, a food that would suit it, its present condition. It cannot eat like we all do. So what they do is, they mix the sesame seeds with water and offer rice balls also, cooked rice balls. And this food that we offer with love to the departed soul, it will be accepted by it because it immediately changes into a form acceptable to that. And their hunger will be satisfied. And the water mixed with sesame seed will satisfy their thirst. And then every year, on the day of the death, there are certain Vedic rituals to be done so that the departed soul will be happy. Every good thought will be helpful to them. There are certain rituals which will help them in their other worlds. So, our Raman was thinking that he should do it, and for the past 37 years, the previous 37 years, he could not bring himself to do it. He wanted to go to Kashi and do it. But then he did not have money. But when the child that was born to him was mentally retarded and died in 2 years, he decided that he had to do it somehow. He asked for a loan of 5,000 rupees, but the person he asked gave only 2,000 rupees. His wife had kept 1,000 rupees just for the sake of this ritual. And so he had only 3,000 rupees. He went to the railway station the previous night itself and boarded the train for Kashi. But then everything was new to him. He did not know the places at all. He did not know the language. But all that he knew was Yogi Ramsuratkumar Nama. So he was confident that Bhagwan would help him all the way through. So he was chanting Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, right from the time he started from home, knowing that help would come from him, that he would never let him down. So in the train he met an old man who told him it's better to do this Vedic ritual in Gaya, because Gaya is meant for this. There is a speciality to that place where the Pinda offering is powerful. So much so, there is a belief that after doing it there, you don't have to do it again, because doing it there would liberate the soul completely. The soul would be free and happy to proceed further. So as per his advice, he got down at Gaya, inquired here and there, and somehow he managed. He spent nearly 500 rupees for the ritual, and after that, he wanted to go to Kashi also. He says his main purpose, because he had already done the ritual for his parents, he wanted to do it in Kashi also, but that was secondary. He said the primary reason was he wanted to bring Ganges water from Kashi for the Abhishekam of Yogi Ramsuratkumar Bhagwan in the Samadhi Mandir. So he further went ahead to Kashi, and when he was standing on the steps of Ganga, he was wondering what to do. He had very little money. He had already spent for the ticket and also for the ritual and for the train also from Gaya to Kashi. He had very little money. So he was wondering what to do with chanting. He did the one thing that we should all do, the one thing that would get everything else. So he was chanting Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar. Suddenly an old Brahmin with beard, with a dhoti worn in the style of Bhagwan, Panchakacham we call it, the traditional wear. He approached him. Of course he would not talk to this Raman, but Raman tried to explain with gestures and broken words of Hindi and English he picked up, that he wanted to do this Pindadan, the Vedic ritual, for his parents there, the holy Ganges of Kashi. And he gave only 10 rupees, which he could afford in the circumstances. And that old Brahmin, without saying anything, accepted the money and did the ritual for him. After the ritual is over, Sri Raman went to the Ganges in order to have the final bath in the Ganges water. So after he had his dip there in the water, he came up the steps to the place where he had placed his bag, and then looked around. That Brahmin was not to be found. He looked so much like Bhagwan. This Raman had the habit of taking Sharanagatam, the ashram magazine, with him. One ashram magazine, one issue of that. So he asked those people around, pointing to the picture of Bhagwan. They said, yes, such a man was here now, and then he went this way, and he could not be seen anywhere. And instantly Sri Raman knew it was Bhagwan himself who came in the form of that old Brahmin to do what he wanted. Just at the mere chanting his name, that ocean of grace came down to do what his bhakta, what his devotee wanted. He was beside himself with joy. So you see how Bhagwan fulfills the wishes of his devotees, the way understandable to them. Of course, Sri Raman brought a can of Ganges water, and then on the Kumbhabhishekam day, he gave the water. He was able to give it for Abhishekam for Bhagwan. He felt a sense of fulfillment in that. Sri Sadhu Rangarajanji is well known to the devotees of Bhagwan. Been coming to Bhagwan for a number of years. He was involved. He still is involved in the Ram Nam movement as per the instruction of Bhagwan. He used to go here and there, travel to the north and also abroad for the sake of spreading Ram Nam. Once he came with some people, his daughter, son and other people, to Thiruvanamalai for darshan of Bhagwan. Bhagwan had asked him to come at 4 o'clock, 4 p.m. He landed in Thiruvanamalai the afternoon itself. It happened to be the day of his father's departure from the body. So he had to do the Vedic ritual for the sake of his departed father. He went straight to Arunachaleshwara Mandir, and there is a tank. So he finished the Vedic ritual there. Those who do this would not take any food that day until after some time. He had taken only some fruits. And then 4 o'clock he promptly presented himself at the doorstep of Bhagwan with the people he came with. Of course, Bhagwan welcomed him, took his hand, and of course Bhagwan knew it was the Shraddha day, that Sadhuji had done the Vedic ritual for his father and come and did not eat anything. And Sadhuji, of course, he gave an offering to Bhagwan. Bhagwan accepted it, saying that your father has accepted this offering. That's part of the Vedic ritual. What a fortune for Sadhuji to do this offering to Bhagwan himself instead of a Brahmin. That was his great fortune. And Bhagwan assured immediately that his father had accepted the offering. And then he said, you go to Vrindavan hotel, have some food and come. So Sadhuji went there, had some light food and came back. They had brought some article meant for a magazine called Hinduism Today. Some questions and answers had been prepared for the sake of the magazine. His son was reading it out to Bhagwan. Bhagwan went through this, all these questions and answers, 3 times. He made Sadhuji's son read again and again 3 times, and then blessed it nicely. One day we shall see what the questions were and the answers. Bhagwan that day made 2 declarations. One was, the topic came about Sri Rama's temple in Ayodhya. Bhagwan declared, Rama's temple will surely come up in Ayodhya. My father would see to it. The second declaration was, he said this Kashmir problem would be solved. My father would see to it that it be solved. This Rama's temple is already coming up to the knowledge of everybody. The second will surely come. Now, again we see in different fashions, Bhagwan had helped people to do this Vedic ritual, which is very important. If we do not do this Vedic ritual to the departed elders of the family, there is this belief that the family would suffer in many ways. There will be health problems, one after the other. And then there will be unexpected deaths. A sudden and unexpected deaths. And again the children would be affected in some way or the other. And that is why it's important that we do our duty towards the elders while living and also after they depart. Even while living, nowadays we see people leaving their parents in old age home, not knowing how it would affect their descendants. The parents have brought up the children with such care and love and concern. But the children, after they grow up, get married, they even think that the parents are a burden. Not knowing they will suffer later on, and the same situation would develop in their life also, and in their old age, they would suffer the same thing. And not only that, after their departure from the body, one's duty continues for the sake of the descendants, for the sake of the children, for the sake of the family. Bhagwan approved of this. Not only approved, he helped people in such situations. So we should remember all these values held by people traditionally over ages. The mantras that we chant during these times, these Vedic rituals, are very important. They create a certain atmosphere which would be conducive to the happiness of the departed soul. And when these elders, the departed elders, bless. In turn, they will bless the family. They will bless their son and the grandchildren. The whole family would be blessed by them, and the family would benefit much from this. Now, today's world, we face a certain terrible situation, not knowing how to come out of it. When we fail in our duty towards our elders, like I said, if you don't do it properly, the children will be mentally retarded. There are other effects also. We would not go deep into that. But then, like that, in the world level, the kind of karmas that we do, if they are not value-based, they are not based upon dharma, after several years a situation would develop like this, and the whole world has to undergo a situation like this. It is something that we have invited ourselves by our karmas, by our bad karmas, by our adharma, the slaughtering of animals, the ruthless killings for the sake of materialistic things. There was a time when Bhagavan is saying in Sannadi Street House, somebody had written a letter to him in which the devotee had said, Swami, our factory is closed because the workers have gone on strike. So now the factory is running at a loss. Why do you give us such situations? Why do you give us such suffering, Swami? Please save me from this. When he read that, Swami got angry. He said, look at this man. He invited the situation by his actions, by his thoughtless actions. And now he is blaming it on the Guru. He is blaming it on God. Why would he do that? He said, a Guru Mahatma is like Kalpataru. Kalpataru is the wish-fulfilling tree. Kamadhenu is a wish-fulfilling cow, a divine cow. Chintamani is a precious stone, a wish-fulfilling precious stone. A Guru Mahatma is usually compared to these three, the wish-fulfilling tree, wish-fulfilling divine cow, and wish-fulfilling divine stone. Sri Yogiji said angrily that these Guru Mahatmas, the Mahatmas have come to the world only to alleviate the suffering of people, not add to them. Whereas these people do not understand all this. These great souls sometimes go through such suffering in order to save a devotee, in order to help a devotee, in order to protect a devotee. Their job is only to alleviate the suffering. Whereas the devotees blame the Guru Mahatmas for their very suffering. So Swami said, when you get a benefit, when you get a joy in life, when you get freedom from suffering, know that it's a blessing from your Guru. It is his kripa, it is his grace that your suffering got over or you escaped from a certain suffering. Do not blame the Guru for the sufferings that you go through. Those sufferings are what you have invited by your way of living. If not in this life, in the previous life. It is your fate. A Guru works against the fate by blessing you. So do not blame God or your Guru for all your failures, for all your sufferings. But every joy that you get, every time you escape a certain accident or a certain suffering, know that it is Guru's grace. You celebrate Guru's grace whenever you experience a joy, a certain blessing in life. But at the same time, make sure that you do not blame your Guru. In fact, it's a sin to blame the Guru for all our failures. This is what Bhagwan was saying there. So let's remember this also, and let's not blame God or our Guru for the situation we find ourselves in today. Know that we have invited it, we have asked for it. In some way or the other, it's a collective karma of the whole world. So the only way to come out of it is to take the name of God again and again and again, as much as we can, and keep on praying, hoping that at a certain nama, a certain prayer, the whole situation will change. The grace will do that. So we shall appeal to that boundless grace of Bhagwan, the boundless compassion of Bhagwan. Bhagwan, forgive us our mistakes, our sins. We seek your immediate divine intervention to free the entire humanity from the clutches of this dreadful virus.